Now let's talk real life for a second, because have you noticed something? At a certain age, life starts making funny sounds. Not just your knees, everything. You sit down. Ow! You stand up. Oh! You bend slightly. Eee! At this point, your body is basically doing sound effects like a cartoon character. And nobody even teaches you this. It just starts happening. Now some people say, oh, that's aging. But I don't fully agree, because I've seen something interesting. Some people at 70 are making those sounds, but they're laughing while doing it. And some people at 40, same sounds, but they're angry about it. That's the difference. Same life, different spirit. Now let me ask you something. Be honest. Have you ever walked into a room and completely forgotten why you went there? Don't lie. We all do it. You walk in like a serious mission. Okay, I came here for something important. Then you stand there like, Then you slowly walk back. Then halfway back you remember. Then you go back again. At this point, your house thinks you're playing games. Even your furniture is confused. But here's the funny part. Older people don't even panic anymore. They just accept it like, maybe it wasn't important anyway. And that right there, that attitude, that's where Carl Jung would smile, because it's not memory loss, it's something deeper, it's surrender, it's learning not to fight life so hard anymore. But let's go deeper, because here's something nobody really talks about. People don't become old because of age. They become old because they stop being curious. Think about it. A child asks questions all day. Why is the sky blue? Why do birds fly? Why does water taste like nothing but still feel like something? Meanwhile, adults are like, just drink the water. But here's the twist. The moment curiosity disappears, life starts shrinking, and shrinking life feels like aging. Now let me tell you something funny. I once saw a man in his 70s. And this man had more energy than people in their 30s. You know why? Every single day he had a small mission. One day he was learning how to cook a new soup. Next day he was trying to fix his radio. Next day he was arguing with YouTube comments like a teenager. And I'm like, Uncle, what is your secret? And he said something simple. I never told my brain we are done learning. Boom. That's it. No magic. No fountain of youth, just refusing to become mentally retired. Now let's talk about something else, loneliness. But don't worry, I'm not going to make this sad. We're still smiling here. But listen, have you noticed this? As people get older, the phone rings less. Friends get busy. Children have their own lives. And suddenly the house becomes very quiet. Too quiet sometimes. And silence can be peaceful, but too much silence starts sounding like thoughts. And thoughts. Oh, thoughts can be loud at night. That's why even a small conversation can change everything. A neighbor saying good morning, a grandchild asking for help with a phone, even someone complaining about politics for 2 hours straight. It all matters, because connection is energy. Now let me say something funny. Nobody ever reaches 80 and says, I wish I spent more time scrolling my phone alone in my room. Nobody, not one person. But they do say, I wish I called my friend more. I wish I laughed more. I wish I visited more people. So if there is someone in your life right now, someone you've been saying, I'll call them later. Maybe today is later. Come on. Don't let pride become loneliness in disguise. Now let's lighten it again. Because here's another truth. At this age, you officially become part of a secret club. The Where Did I Put It club. You can be holding something in your hand and still ask, Has anyone seen my glasses? While wearing them. Yes. On your face. And everybody around you is silent like, we are not going to tell him. Because it's tradition now, it's part of aging culture. But here's the beautiful part. If you can laugh at it, It doesn't hurt. That's the secret. Laughter keeps the spirit young. Not exercise, not money, not even vitamins. Laughter. Because laughter tells your brain, life is still safe. Life is still good. Life is still happening. And that changes everything. Now, before we continue, if you're still here with me, type, "I'm still here," in the comments. Let's see who is walking this journey together. And if this video is making you smile even a little, don't forget to like it. It helps this message reach someone who really needs it today. And subscribe too, because we're just getting started. And the next part, oh. And this is where Carl Jung would usually lower his voice a little and say, listen carefully. Because what he's about to say is not loud, but it changes everything. Now let's continue. You see, most people think aging is about the body. But Jung said something very interesting. He believed there are two lives we live. The first half is about building your life, and the second half is about meeting yourself. And let me explain that in a simple way. In your younger years, you're busy surviving. School, work, bills, family, expectations. You're basically running like a full-time employee in the company called life. No breaks, no vacation, just deadlines. But then something happens. Around 60, 70, 75. Life slowly starts to quiet down, and suddenly you hear something you didn't hear before, yourself, and that can feel strange, because now there is no noise to hide behind, no rush, no constant distraction, just you. And many people don't know what to do with that silence, so they turn on the TV louder, or complain louder, or just repeat the same stories from 1985 like it just happened yesterday. You know that moment when someone says, "Back in my day," and you already know you're about to hear a full documentary. But here's the funny truth. Those stories matter, because that's identity, that's memory, that's life. But Jung would say something deeper. If you don't meet yourself now, you will start repeating yourself. Let that sit for a second. Now let me ask you something. Have you ever met someone older who keeps telling the same story again and again? Same details, same ending, same laugh, same pause before the punchline. And at first you smile. Then you realize they're not just telling a story, they're holding on to a moment when they felt most alive. And that's the real issue. Because when people stop creating new memories, they start living in old ones, and that's when aging feels heavy. But it doesn't have to be that way, because Jung also believed something very powerful. He believed the second half of life is actually the most meaningful part, if you live it properly. Not faster, not louder, but deeper. Now let's bring this back to real life. Imagine this. A man is 72. He retires. First week he is happy. Second week he fixes everything in the house. Third week he watches all TV channels. Fourth week he starts arguing with the remote control, because the remote is now his only colleague. But then something changes. He joins a small group in his community, starts walking every morning, starts learning how to grow plants, starts talking to people again, starts laughing again, and suddenly something comes back. Energy, not youthful skin, not muscle. Something deeper, energy of being interested in life again, and that is the real secret. Interest. Now let me say something funny here. Nobody ever looks at a tired person and says, "This person needs more money." No, they say, "This person needs rest." But sometimes they don't need rest. They need life again. They need laughter again. They need connection again. They need curiosity again. Now listen carefully, because this next part is important. You don't become young by trying to act young. That actually looks worse sometimes. You become young by feeling alive inside. That's it. That's the whole secret. Now let's talk about something very simple. Daily joy. At this age, joy is no longer about big events. It's small things, a good cup of tea, a quiet morning, a funny video, a call from someone you love, a walk outside, even just sitting and doing nothing without stress. That is luxury at this stage of life. Real luxury. Not cars, not houses, not status. Peace. Now I want you to think about something. When was the last time you laughed so hard you had to pause? Not smile. I mean real laugh. The kind that makes your stomach hurt a little. If it's been a while, maybe today needs a little more laughter. And maybe less seriousness. Because let's be honest, life is already serious enough on its own. We don't need to add extra seriousness like seasoning. Now before we continue, if you're still watching, type "still laughing" in the comments. Let's see who is smiling with me right now. And don't forget to like the video if you're enjoying this walk together. It really helps the channel grow and reach more people who need this message. And if you're new here, subscribe. Because what we're building here is simple, a place where aging is not feared, but understood and celebrated. Now in the next part, we're going to go even deeper. Now let's slow down a little. Grab your coffee. Yes, go on, I'll wait for you. Tea is fine too, even water. Even that biscuit you've been hiding from everybody in the house. No judgment here. This is our small weekend moment together. Now, Carl Jung believed there is one final thing that separates people who age peacefully from people who struggle every single day. And this one is not about money, not about health, not even about family. It's about something deeper, meaning. Let that word sit for a second. Meaning. Because here's something very interesting. Two people can be the same age, same city, same house even, same everything on the outside, but inside, one feels life is still moving forward. The other feels like life has already ended. They're just waiting for the body to catch up. And the difference is meaning. Now let me make this very human for you. Have you ever seen someone retire, and within a few months they start looking older? Not because something went wrong with their body, but because something stopped inside them. No reason to wake up early, no reason to plan the day, no reason to look forward to anything. So the days start blending together. Monday feels like Tuesday, Tuesday feels like Saturday, and Saturday feels like, what day is this again? And slowly, life becomes just passing time. Now here's the funny part. Nobody says, I miss my job. They say, I miss having a reason. And that's the real truth, because human beings are not designed to just exist. We are designed to move towards something, even small things. A goal, a project, a routine, a purpose, something that pulls you forward. Carl Jung said something very powerful about this idea. He believed the psyche, the human spirit, always needs direction. If it doesn't have direction, it starts folding inward, and that's when people begin to feel tired of life. Not because life is bad, but because life feels empty. Now let's bring this closer to real life. Imagine this. A man wakes up in the morning, no work, no plan, no appointment, nothing urgent. He sits on the bed and says, today I will rest. Then he rests. Then he rests some more. Then somehow it becomes 2 p.m., then 4 p.m. Then evening comes, and he says, today was a long day. But nothing actually happened in the day, and this is where something dangerous quietly enters. Not sadness, not pain, boredom. Because boredom that lasts too long slowly turns into heaviness, and heaviness starts to feel like age. But here is the good news. Meaning is not something you lose forever. It is something you rebuild, slowly, gently, daily. Even after 70, even after 80, even after 90. Now let me tell you something very simple. You don't need a big purpose. You don't need to change the world. You don't need to become famous. Sometimes meaning is small. Very small, like checking on one person every day, like watering your plants, like walking outside just to feel the air, like learning one new thing a week, like laughing with someone instead of arguing with them. That is meaning too. Now let's be honest for a second. Sometimes we overcomplicate life. We think purpose must be something huge. But Carl Jung would probably smile and say, no, sometimes it is just about staying alive inside. Now I want you to think about this. When you wake up tomorrow, what is one small thing you can look forward to? Just one. Not 10, not 5. One. Maybe a call, maybe a walk, maybe a meal, maybe even just sitting in the sun for 5 minutes, like you are charging your soul. Because yes, even that counts. Now let's make this a little fun again. At this age, even small victories matter. You wake up without pain. Victory. You find your glasses immediately. Double victory. You remember why you walked into the room? Olympic gold medal. You make tea and it actually tastes good? Legend status. See? Life becomes lighter when you stop needing everything to be perfect. Now here is the final thing I want to leave you with in this section. Peaceful aging is not about having everything figured out. It's about being okay with not having everything figured out. It's about laughing a little more, worrying a little less, caring deeply, but not stressing unnecessarily, and most importantly, staying connected to people, to life, to yourself, because the moment you disconnect from life, life starts feeling far away. But when you stay connected, even simple days feel meaningful. Now take a sip of your coffee. Yes, go on, slowly, because in the next part, we are going to bring everything together, and Carl Jung's final message about aging is going to feel very personal, like he is speaking directly to you.